guys, in today's lesson, we are going to review all of the things that we've done so far in place value so that we can move forward in this week's lesson. So the first thing I'm going to do is just write a number on the board here on my little clipboard. Bear with me while I get it centered. Okay. I'm just going to write a number pretty big number actually. So we've got 314,582,601. Okay, so there's my number. It's a pretty large number, but the reason that I wanted it to be fairly large was because I wanted to teach you about the separate periods that we discussed last week, and just to remind those of you that may have forgotten. So this one right here is the ones place. This one is the tens place, and of course we have the hundreds place. This period right here is actually called the ones period. All of these are ones. You've got 1, 1, and you have 600 ones. So 601 ones right here. Then we move on. You might notice a pattern here. Again, we have ones, tens, hundreds, except this time, this period is the thousands period. Okay, so we have 2,000s, we have 82,000s, we have 582,000s. And moving over here to your next little period is what we call it. We've got ones, tens, hundreds again. So no matter how high you get up in your number, you're always going to have ones, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds. The only difference is what the family or what the period is called. And this one happens to be the millions place. So that's the families or the periods of the numbers. Now, one of the things I really want you guys to learn to do really well is to read a number all the way through without hesitating. I want you to have fact fluency eventually, and I want you to have number sense enough to know how to read a number. So I'm going to read this again, but just remember when you're reading each period, just say the number as it looks, then move on. And let me just explain to you what I mean by that. So I want to say 314. Okay, that's how I want to start. 314,582,601. That was the first thing that we talked about in our lessons this week, was how to read a number and write a number. So just to kind of review another thing, this is standard form. Right now, what you see on this blue here is that number is written in standard form. Okay, now I'm not going to write that exact number in expanded form because that would take a really long time. And I'm not going to write it in written form because that would take a really long time. But what I will do is erase everything except the 582. Okay, so we've got our number written in standard form, 582. Now I'm going to go ahead and write that same number in expanded form. I'm going to go with written form first. So in written form, we would just literally write that out, 582. A couple things you might notice. You might notice this hyphen right here. That hyphen is usually written in number words that end in TY. So 82, 49, 63, anything with a TY followed by another word is usually going to have a hyphen in there. Another thing you might have noticed is that I didn't write the word and. It's not 582. We actually don't write the word and in whole numbers. When we're writing numbers out, we actually never use the word and. The only time we use the word and is when we're writing decimals. And that time won't come until a while. So this is the standard form. Here's the written form of 582. The next thing I'm going to show you is expanded form. Expanded form of a number is something that you did learn in 3rd grade and just review for our 4th grade, except I'm going to add a little element to it. So actually, I'm going to write it up here. So the expanded form that you learned before is that 5's in the hundreds place, so it's worth 500. The 8's in the tens place, so it's worth 80. And the 2 is in the ones place, so it's worth 2. But in 4th grade, we go a little bit further than that. Let me just kind of explain to you what this really kind of looks like and the reason that we do it that way. is because this 2 is in the ones place, which is why this is represented by 2 ones. The 8 is in the tens place, so we would see 8 tens. That's a lot of tens to write down, isn't it? And then this one would be 500s. To show the meaning of our expanded form, this is what I want you to see. You see what it means. So that's 5 is in the hundreds place, so it's worth 500. Well, that's a lot to write down. So you could either do it like this, or you can write it the super smart way. And that is to say, okay, 5 times 100 is equal to 500. You're going to put some multiplication knowledge in here now. 8 times 10 is 80. And 2 times 1 is 2. So using that concept, you can see, I really want to point out to you guys that I am kind of a stickler on making sure that it's in the same order every single time. In other words, you should say this whenever you're putting this in expanded form. You should say the 5 is in the hundreds place. The 8 is in the tens place. The 2 is in the ones place. Like, put it in that order. I noticed that some kids would have like the 10 and the 8 switched, or the 1 and the 2 switched. Please try to make sure that you have your first digit goes here. The second digit goes in the first spot here. And the third digit goes in the first spot there. It's just an easier, more organized. Mathematicians love to be organized and precise. All right, with that